Hey, this is Ervin Griffin, and I got with me my girlfriend Regina K. Huff, who you might know as TheNatureGirl30. We would see it all and hear it a lot of videos on this whole thing with Travis Hunter and his fiance, which, pardon my apologies, I don't know the woman's name.
I think it's Leanna Lene.
Yeah, I knew it started with.
Leanna Lene. I think that's what.
I knew it started with L. But in any case, which speaking of L's, Travis might be taking one. But we've heard so many of these videos. I've yet to hear it. It's been mostly from the younger bucks. Well, younger meaning like late 20s, early 30s. And those guys are even older than Travis. But I think it's time maybe we've heard from maybe an older couple's view. Now, granted, me and Regina are not actually married. However, I think we've both seen enough and experienced enough in our own lives to comment on this situation. Now, neither one of us knows Travis Hunter or what was her name?
Leanna Lene. I think Leanna Lene.
Leanna. We don't know enough about them. We don't know them personally. However, just looking at it from the outside in, I see Travis Hunter as a young man who didn't have a lot of experience with women and probably didn't have the self-confidence in himself, even though he was a big-time football player, which he had a step or two above me. I never excelled at any sport. Even though I did have some athletic, I just didn't care enough to explore it or develop it. Or if I didn't get it quick, or if I didn't get it quickly, I either just gave up or I was basically dismissed, even if I wanted to try it, by other people. That's a whole other long story altogether. I'm keeping the focus on Travis, but I see a little bit of me in him because I was vulnerable like that. And unfortunately, he fell to the prey of a woman. And let's put it out there. Let's give a shout out to Pink Book Lessons. I don't always agree with her and her videos, especially the Kamala Harris stuff. But that's another story for another day. But I do agree with her on this. No one is bringing up the fact that this woman that he just recently married, no one's bringing up the fact that she started messing with him when he was 16 and she was well over 18. She was like in her early.
She was like 22.
Yeah, something like that. And no one brings that up. I mean, essentially, she was basically a groomer. And when they call them high school sweethearts, that's another lie. Because actually Travis was, in fact, dating a woman that was in his corner supporting him. He broke up with her to be with this chick that he's married to now.
And she acknowledged this. Like, it's not anything we're making up. This is something that she put on social media. I can't remember if it's TikTok or Instagram, but this is something out of her own mouth. And I think she got herself in trouble because she was talking too much. And honestly, I'm happy that Pink Book Lessons did bring this up because Corey Holcomb, his podcast, for some reason, one of his co-hosts kept saying that they were high school sweethearts. They weren't. They never were. She wasn't even in high school at the time. And she acknowledged this online from her own mouth. They were actually, she was actually in college when she met him. And I think it was her brother that introduced both of them. So they were not even in high school. And according to her, he was a cheater too. Because he was cheating on his high school sweetheart at the very same time he was dating his high school sweetheart. It was acknowledged by her. She has gloated far too much online. And she's going to pay the piper for it. Because when you put something out there, you're going to have people criticize you. No matter how hard it's going to be to hear it, you put it out there thinking that you're going to get a different response. And honestly, she got the polar opposite. Nobody was on this woman's side. Because a lot of women know what she's up to. Women are not weak. Even though this society treats women like they are, they're not. Women are natural survivors. They're natural survivors for themselves and for their kids. And now, and I don't think anybody acknowledged this, she's got a baby bump, a 4-month baby bump. And when people keep saying that she secured that bag, she secured the bag. Why? Because he didn't sign a prenup. I mean, and even if he tried to sign a postnup, the thing is that she's probably not going to sign it. She probably want half of everything he's got. And that's the sad part. He worked his butt off to get to that point. And in the NFL, nothing is guaranteed. If he gets injured, he's not going to get the same amount of money as he's gotten currently. And all this that he is spoiling and dumping on her, she's going to expect this every day. And now that she got a bun in the oven, it's going to be even worse. I feel bad for the child to get thrown into this whole social media mess. And I'm hoping that somehow they're able to make good out of it for the sake of the child. But in this case, this woman is a survivor. She just is. I mean, she's a hustler straight up. I'm not going to really say survivor. She's a hustler. The fact that she was a stripper in Atlanta, the fact that she was used to having OnlyFans, she is a hustler. She's going to hustle the crap out of him until he's not going to have enough money for himself.
And I hate to say this, but this type of woman that, and I'm not going to say no names, but this type of woman that I almost fell into. Now, me and my mom, we haven't always gotten along. But I will say this. This type of woman that she tried to basically warn me of. And there was one woman in particular. And my mom used to be very, very pro-black. But let me put it this way. This black woman was so bad. And she was such a bad influence. She would have rather been walked up with a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman than with this chick. She did not like this chick at all. She saw what she was using me for rides to places and stuff. And I might add, my mom's car. Because at the time, I only had a driver's license. I had a license to drive a car, but I didn't actually have a car. And sometimes my mom, when she'd call over the house, she would flat out just tell, Ervin doesn't have a car. He can't take you nowhere. Click. Yeah, rude, yes, but was it unfactual? No. I didn't have a vehicle at the time. And one day, mom just flat out, because I think she was finally sick of her, she flat out just told me, like, look, that girl is just using you because you have access to a car. You have no actual car. You have a driver's license to drive, but that's it. You don't have an actual car. And furthermore, the more she keep using you, what she's going to do, one day, she's going to go ahead, and I've never heard my mom say this before or even since, but she just flat out, she basically went back to old school Welch, West Virginia, have a cold speak, and she said, what that girl's going to do, she going to get you alone one day, and she going whip some you, and then you gonna end up getting her pregnant, and then you gonna be stuck with her for 18 years. No, and she said that in those words that I just said. And to be honest, I was getting ready to go to Concord and everything. It was called Concord College. It's now known as Concord University. I went over there, and for the most part, looking back on it, at the time, I stayed away from it because I was scared of my mama. Looking back on it now, the way I am now, I probably would have saw her for what she was at the time. And turns out she was right, because later on, I see this same woman who's now a minister of all things, but was a single mom for most, if not all that time. three kids, all of them, I think, daughters, and I never even saw her with a boyfriend, let alone a husband. So yeah, I mean, that was one of those. But Travis, I suspect, did not have a strong mother figure like that in there. Now, did my mom get in the way too much? You could argue that, but on this instance, she was right.
It's kind of difficult for us to say, because I'm going to be honest. From the wedding pictures that I have seen so far, I didn't see her in any of them. There might have been something I missed, and I'm going to put that out there. There might have been something that I missed. She might have been in one of the shots. But the fact is that the parents are usually front and center, like in maybe the third shot. But I just saw this bald-headed black dude that was standing behind him, probably maybe the uncle or cousin. And I didn't see the mama nowhere. Now, in my humble opinion, I haven't heard of his mama perishing, so I don't know. But if she's still alive, there's a possibility that she is protesting all of this and did not bother to show up. And you know what? It's a double-edged sword to that. Now, I'm not going to necessarily say she should agree to what he is doing, because she shouldn't, because she is obviously grooming him for her needs. This woman is practically using this man. It's a given. She does not like him. She's always upset being around him. It's too much footage of her being upset, being angry, being irritable. And people are like, well, she might have been pregnant at the time. Look, I'm going to be real with you. Don't use that as an excuse. Yes, I know pregnant women are hormonal, but for crying out loud, no. She's just incredibly impatient over this man. And honestly, she's groomed him to get to what she wanted to get, the money. And I wouldn't be surprised that his mother was protesting this. You saw that he was surrounded by her relatives, barely his. There may be a few of them in the crowd, a few little dark pieces of chocolate in the crowd, and a sea of white or vanilla, whatever. But the fact is that his mom, the person that was there, the person that took him from wherever he was currently to Florida to get a better life, that made all those sacrifices for him, from what I'm hearing, is not there. That's an important call that people gotta look at. If she's still alive and she did all those things for him and made all those sacrifices, and she's not there front and center to see her baby graduate, think about it. Not just graduate, but get married. Think about it. Think about it. She's protesting this, and she has every right to feel that way, because no mom wants to see her son go down like this. But unfortunately, he's going to have to learn. The only double-edged sword of all this is, in her case, she's not going to see her grandchild. Because mark my words, the mama's going to make sure that the grandchild will never know his mother. And I think that's very spiteful. But in this case, it's a double-edged sword. If you don't like the wife will cut you out. That's kind of how it is. And she's probably not going to see that grandkid. I feel sorry for her. Because every grandparent, as long as they're on this earth, should see their grandchild. That's just me. Now, I'm not saying stay with them, but just at least see them and spend time with them. That's just all I'm saying. But this situation's a hot mess.
Yeah, and another reason I empathize with Travis, the whole thing, I mean, she said this in an interview on wax, in front of him, basically talking about, well, when I first saw him, he wasn't my type and stuff, basically calling him ugly and stuff. And let me tell you, some of the harshest criticisms, I mean, like I said, I can empathize with Travis, because some of that I went through was basically make fun of because of my nose being too big. Was called ugly. I mean, I had some really, and most of the rude, mean stuff I had said to me was from other black people. Sadly, I mean, maybe once in a while I'll get it from somebody white, but most of the time when it was somebody white, it was about mental. It was about mentality. Or that I was slow, or this and that. It was more about that. They didn't attack my looks, they attacked mentally, which, again, Whole nother discussion. Whole nother discussion. But most of the physical attraction I was talked down to by mostly black women. And as far as the control thing, what Regina was referring to, I've had that too. I had that too because I thought this is what I had to do to get a woman to. Well, and that used to infuriate my mom too. But the thing is, my mom would not. If I have any knock with both my parents, really, but if I have any knock, they never actually sat down. Nobody ever really sat down with me and talked to me about what was going on.
But in this case, you had two parents. He don't know who his daddy is. And he has mama to lean on. Now, I'm not going to put everything on the mama. I don't have enough
which I think that's her in the picture right there.
But she wasn't at the wedding. And that's the thing. I didn't see any wedding shots with her in it. And the fact that you have a strong mother like that took her son from one state to another to have a better life, and she didn't show up to the wedding, that needs to tell you something. And obviously, this woman has taught far too much to put herself in the pot, in a boiling pot of water, because she pretty much exposed herself multiple times. This guy probably didn't really have a lot of women after him, like Ervin said, because he probably thinks he has to do something to get him to like him. And then he's going to hang on to what he's got. Do not have that mentality, but he is young. He was 16 when he met her. And when you're a teenager, that's your first experience. You clutch on that to like it's no end. You never let it go because you keep thinking, oh, I ain't gonna get nothing else. Oh, the whole world is over. My whole life is over. That's the mentality that most teenagers have at that age. If they let something go, they think, oh, I'm never gonna get it again, when they are down the line. But they don't see it that way. And in his case, I hate to say it, but he's gonna have to lose everything in order to smarten up. I don't want him to. You never want that part of life to hit you smack dab in the face. But you had everybody warning him. From celebrities, I wouldn't be surprised if Mama did, because she ain't there. I wouldn't be surprised. And everybody on social media has been warning this dude that she is trying to steal from you, which is what she is. And I hate to say it, you got a baby now. You can't escape that. And I know you don't want to be in the same position that your daddy put you in when he just dipped out. So 9 times out of 10, he's going to try to be the best father he can be. But just because you can be the best father you can be, don't mean you can be married to a succubus. I'm sorry. And I know I'm sorry. That's a horrible thing to say. But she kind of put herself out there to see that she is going to take every ounce of whatever from this guy. And that's a horrible thing to say. I know it is. But it just seems to me that her motives is just financial. I don't think she has any fondness of this guy, but she knows what she can get out of it, and maybe that motivates her to like him more.
Yeah, and I'm saying this on a Sunday morning. Unlike Travis, like Regina pointed out, I still had two parents. Whether they did everything they could do or not, the fact is I had two parents. This guy only had his mama. And somehow God was looking out for my young behind at that time to avoid a lot of the things that unfortunately this young man is falling into the trap of. This has a lot of vibes, in my opinion. I know there's some differences, and Regina may not agree with me on this, but this has some vibes with the current situation with DDG and Holly Bailey, in the sense that everybody saw that DDG, not that Holly Bailey's a saint, but everybody saw that DDG was not the right one for her, yet she went with him anyway, and now they got a kid in the mix. This has some vibes. Only difference is at least DDG and Holly Bailey were around the same age. This woman is much older than Travis Scott, and nobody's calling her a predator. We are quick to call out, and rightfully so, Diddy a predator, but no one calls this woman a predator.
She kind of is. I mean, this is something that a lot of people don't want to bring up or don't want to mention because it could be the fact she's a woman and she could be attractive. But let's be honest, this woman groomed this guy. She knew what she was doing. She was 22 when she met him. She is practically, you can probably consider her to be a predator. Not consider, she is one. He was 16 at the time. She was 22. And she could be like, well, I had him in my DMs for like 6 months, but you were still dating the guy. I mean, even though your brother introduced him, and as soon as your brother told him who he was, it changed your mind. And honestly, I would have a lot more respect for her if she walked away completely because of his age. And even if he becomes of age, you know you're not attracted to the guy, so just keep it moving. Yeah. I would have had more respect for her if she did that in that way than did what she did. And I'm sorry. This is predatory behavior. This is grooming behavior. It's not great. But then, and Shannon Sharp said this, even though Shannon Sharp got a lot of heat on him right now. But I got a lot of respect for the guy because he remains consistent. He was like, no matter how much we keep trying to tell this guy to be careful of this woman, knowing what type of woman she is, he's got to find out for himself. And he's not wrong. He's going to have to find out the hard way. Because let's be honest, NFL is not guaranteed. If you get injured, if you blow out a knee, if you get a concussion, if you blow your back out, that's your whole career. You have to have a backup plan in order to survive, and he hasn't been out that long in order to get enough credibility to get a backup plan. So I'm hoping that nothing really happens to this guy. He's able to secure a future for himself and his family. But he also got to stay in mind that you got to set some boundaries. She already got some ground rules for you. You better have ground rules for her. Because 9 times out of 10, she ain't working. And she's going to blow every ounce of money you got. So I hope that you have some ground rules financially so you can have something for y'all's future.
Yeah, because this woman, like I said, she secured that bag. And this young man, he's just going to have to find out for himself. Sometimes you have to do that. I mean, there are cats my age. I'm 50 years old, in case you're wondering. There are cats my age that are just as dumb as Travis. And that's even worse. When you're 50 years old, when you should have some knowledge of self and some knowledge of how the world is, and you still making the same mistakes as the younger crowd or worse, yeah. I mean, and some cats don't learn. I hope Travis is not in that category of they don't learn at all. But some cats, there are cats older than me that still be making the same mistakes.
He might have an idea. I think he has an idea for how she is, but he doesn't want to admit it. From some of the shots that they had been in together, for some of the things that he said that made him look side-eye at her, I think that he has an idea of who she is, but he's hoping that she'll change for the better. A lot of people his age and even in their 20s think that when they're in relationships that's bad. They're thinking, okay, if I do this, she'll act right. If I do this, she'll act right. If I do this, he'll act right. If I do this, he'll act right. I hate to break it to you, but they are who they are. When you are with somebody for more than 4 months, their real selves come out. They don't hold that back no more. And no matter what you do, they're going to be them. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that you got to set some boundaries. And if she can't agree with them, you might have to walk away. The only problem is that it's going to be harder for you to walk away now than it was before you got married. You got married in Tennessee. Let's be honest. From what I've heard, the marriage laws are a little lax over there. For anybody, I mean, I have relatives in Tennessee, but to be honest with you, I think that is a Commonwealth state. A common law state. I think that is a common law state. So if you are with somebody like for more than a certain period of time, they are considered a wife, and they do actually get the same benefits that a wife would have regardless of being married. So I wouldn't be shocked if she chose Tennessee, even though I don't think neither one of them are from there. So, but regardless, he needs to start setting some ground rules, not just as a husband, but for your future. Because this woman is going to get so caught up in all the lust, the riches and lavishness and everything that's from what he can give her, that y'all going to be broke very quick. Somebody's got to be the one that has common sense in the marriage. And I'm hoping somehow it'll be Travis. I'm hoping he's going to learn from this.
Yeah, and what you were saying about he probably knows that she's probably bad news, but he's probably hoping that she'll change. I had that mentality at one time. It took me until I was in my uh, almost in my late 20s, early 30s to realize when people show you who they are, when they're rude or snippy to you the first time, believe them. Believe them and just leave them alone. Walk away. Walk away.
You will benefit from it later. And trust me, it's not the end of the world. You'll probably get somebody better than her. Who knows?
Probably get somebody by better personality, more integrity. And this is just to the fellas. Maybe prettier.
Oh, goodness.
Maybe better body.
But in this
and
case,
everything. But I'm just saying, to these dudes that think, oh, if they lose it, like, oh, it's the end of the world. No, it ain't, dude. No, it ain't.
But in this case, let's be realistic. They already tied the knot. They're officially a married couple. All I can say is for both of them, I'm hoping that Leanna Lene somehow gets some sense. I think she's going to be a great mom, but there are women who are great moms, but they suck as wives. And then there are some who are great wives, but suck as moms. And there are some that have that balance. I'm hoping that she does develop a balance. I'm hoping that she does. But it doesn't seem like she's attracted to Travis at all. I wouldn't be surprised she'll be an amazing mom, but she would just not be a great wife. And with Travis, I'm just hoping that Travis just doesn't become like most NFL players and have side pieces that are like on the side. I'm just hoping that somehow he makes this work and doesn't want to do what his dad did to him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he tries that he doesn't want to be like what his father did to him. He wants to be in reverse. He wants to be a good dad, which is good. Be a good dad to your kids. They come first until they get grown. When they're grown, they're on their own. But when they're at that age, little kids that need protection, little kids that need guidance, be a good dad. Be the best dad you can be. If what happens between you and your wife don't work out, accept that and move on, but be a good father. I'm hoping their marriage does kind of get better. I'm hoping their marriage does improve. I'm hoping they learn from all of this and they become better people. But let's be honest, I'm doubtful of that. So just be the best person you can be in the situation you're in. And don't be like what your dad did to you. You know, just be better. Be better than anyone else. Be better.
Yeah, and that's really all we got to say on that. We just wanted to give perspective from some, we've heard from somebody, and not to knock their opinions, but we wanted to give perspective from some people that have actually seen a little bit,
Yeah, I mean, we're not married, but neither are they. They just got married. They haven't been there for a solid year. We've been in a relationship for going on we've been in a relationship for about 3 years. And honestly, from having our perspective, it's just like we're from a different generation. Everyone has a different perspective. We're not saying that one is better than the other, but everyone's perspective is different. And we just heard from people who were like in their 30s and in their 20s about this. Not many people who are older, except for like the stars like Shannon Sharp. And shoot, I think Dion even weighed in on it, like briefly. But, this is just from our perspective, not downing nobody else.
Yeah. But that's all we got to say here. Have a good morning.